Fonzie, jumping a shark on water skis. It's the moment that spawned a pop culture shorthand for the beginning of the end. It's the phrase we use when a TV show gets desperate, when the writers run out of ideas, when quality crashes and a once great series limps towards cancellation. But what if I told you that through the course of cultural telephone over the past 40 years, everyone seems to get this story wrong? What if that shark jump didn't kill Happy Days? It actually saved it. Dare I say, it transformed TV and film for decades. This is the real story of Happy Days and the shark jump that changed television forever. But first, jump over to the like button and smash it if you watched Fonzie jump the shark back in '77, and subscribe for more retro TV deep dives. Let's start at the beginning. Happy Days premiered on ABC on January 15th, 1974. The concept was simple, a nostalgic look at 1950s Milwaukee through the eyes of the Cunningham family. You had Richie Cunningham, the all-American teenager, his parents, Howard and Marion, the wholesome suburban couple, sister Joni, and an older brother named Chuck who disappeared one day never to be seen again. Seriously, he went upstairs and just ceased to exist after that. The show was created by Gary Marshall, who pitched it as the way we'd like to remember the 50s, not necessarily the way they were. It wasn't a smash hit out of the gate. In its first season, it ranked 16th in the Nielsen ratings. That was respectable, but it wasn't a phenomenon. The pacing was slower, it was filmed with a single camera, and it was honestly a little quiet. But the cultural winds were shifting. The 1973 film American Graffiti, starring Ron Howard, had become a massive cultural sensation. Really, that's the only reason the show got made. The script had been shelved for a while, but once George Lucas turned 1950s nostalgia white hot at the box office, ABC decided to dust off the pilot. And by season 2, everything changed. You see, there was this one other character, a minor one really, a greaser named Arthur Fonzarelli, who appeared in exactly 2 scenes in the pilot episode. Of course, I'm talking about the Fonz. Henry Winkler's leather jacket wearing motorcycle riding cool guy wasn't supposed to be the lead. In fact, in the beginning, the ABC censors wouldn't even let him wear leather because they thought it looked too gang related. He was only allowed to wear the leather jacket if he was standing next to his motorcycle because then it was considered safety equipment. That is a true story. But audience research showed something the executives couldn't ignore. Kids were obsessed with the Fonz. They wanted more of him. They wanted him in every scene. They didn't care about the censorship rules. They just wanted the cool guy. So the network made Fonzie the star. The results were immediate. In season 2, ratings skyrocketed. The show moved into the widespread cultural conversation. By season 3, the show hit number 10, and by season 4, Happy Days became the number 1 show in America with a 31.5 rating. Fonzie wasn't just a character anymore, he was a cultural phenomenon. Henry Winkler appeared on the cover of Time magazine, the leather jacket eventually went to the Smithsonian. Happy Days was the king of television, but by 1977, that crown was getting heavy. As season 5 approached in the summer of 1977, Happy Days faced a series of problems that threatened its dominance. Problem number 1, Ron Howard was done. Ron Howard, who played Richie Cunningham, the supposedly character, was looking for an exit. He'd been considering film school at USC and was increasingly interested in directing, which, worked out pretty well for him. Problem number 2, the cast was expensive. Success meant leverage. Henry Winkler was now commanding top dollar, the ensemble cast all wanted raises, ABC was paying premium prices for a show entering its 5th season, which is a time when TV production costs typically spiral out of control. Problem number 3, they were running on fumes. How many sock hops can you go to? How many drive-in movies? The writers were struggling to find fresh territory within the realistic confines of Milwaukee. As writer Lowell Gans admitted in a 1985 interview, "We'd done every wholesome 50s story there was. We had to get creative." Problem number 4, friendly fire. Perhaps the biggest threat came from inside the house. Laverne and Shirley, a Happy Days spin-off that premiered in 1976, was a monster hit. By the end of the 1976-77 season, it was ranked number 2, right behind Happy Days. The student was threatening to become the teacher. Then came the network's ultimatum. In the summer of 77, ABC executives met with Gary Marshall. Fred Silverman, ABC's programming chief, was the master of event television. He was responsible for the Rural Purge in the early 70s and helped set up All in the Family, the Mary Tyler Moore Show, and the Bob Newhart Show before later greenlighting the Supertrain disaster and nearly bankrupting NBC. Anyway, at the time, he could do no wrong. He wanted the season 5 premiere to be a spectacle. He wanted something that would make sure Happy Days stayed number 1. The solution was to take the gang to Hollywood, get them out of Milwaukee, create a multi-part season premiere that would feel like a movie. But they needed a centerpiece, something crazy. The exact origin is disputed, but the idea was audacious. What if Fonzie jumped over a shark on water skis? Marshall reportedly paused when he heard this, then said, "That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Let's do it." Hollywood Part 3 aired on September 20th, 1977. The setup is classic sitcom logic. The gang is in California. A local surf legend named the California Kid challenges Fonzie's bravery. To prove he hasn't lost his edge, Fonzie agrees to jump over a shark in a confined pen. The moment takes up about 3 minutes of screen time. Fonzie, wearing swim trunks and his iconic leather jacket, because you know leather in water sports makes sense, stands on water skis. He hits the ramp, he goes airborne, he clears the shark. It was absurd, it was cartoonish, it was pure spectacle, and here's what people forget. America loved it. Hollywood Part 3 drew 30 million viewers and finished number 1 for the week. At the time, nobody called it the death of Happy Days. TV Guide called it an entertaining season opener. Kids thought it was awesome. The ratings didn't crash. In fact, what happened next proves the jump the shark theory completely wrong. Let's look at the post-shark era. Did the ratings collapse? No. Happy Days finished that season ranked number 2 in the Nielsen ratings, only surpassed by its own spin-off Laverne and Shirley. It was still pulling in over 31 million viewers a week. And the decision was so successful, it led to even more insanity. In February 1978, 5 months after the shark jump, an episode aired called My Favorite Orkin. It featured a bizarre alien named Mork, who tries to take Richie back to his home planet. It was weirder than the shark jump. It was pure sci-fi fantasy. And a fun fact, this only happened because Star Wars had just come out and every kid in America was obsessed with space. Gary Marshall's son, Scott, actually told his dad, "We need a spaceman on Happy Days." Marshall just wanted to make sure his kid was happy. So, just as his sister Penny got to be on Laverne and Shirley, his son got an alien. And audiences went wild. The character, played by an unknown comedian named Robin Williams, was so popular that ABC immediately greenlit a spin-off. Mork and Mindy premiered in September 1978 and became an instant sensation, finishing its first season at number 3. Think about that. Had Fonzie not jumped the shark and opened the door to cartoonish plots, do we get Robin Williams? Let me know in the comments. And the show still had gas left in the tank after that. Ron Howard finally left Happy Days in 1980, and the show still kept running. It evolved from a nostalgia show into a hangout comedy. It stayed in the top 20 for years. The series finale aired on September 24th, 1984. Happy Days ran for 7 seasons after that shark jump. It produced 255 episodes total. Acting like the shark jump killed Happy Days is like saying an occasional whiskey killed a 97-year-old man. It just doesn't add up. So why is jumping the shark even a thing? It wasn't coined by a TV critic in 1977. It was coined in 1985, 8 years later, by a college student named Jon Hein. He and his roommate were debating when their favorite shows went bad, and Hein pinpointed the shark jump as the moment Happy Days lost its grip on reality. Hein later created the website jumptheshark.com in 1997. The phrase went viral before going viral was even a thing. Now, the phrase is in the Oxford English Dictionary. But here is the uncomfortable truth. Let's be honest about what Happy Days was before the shark jump and what it became after. Before, it was a grounded, somewhat realistic nostalgia sitcom about growing up. After, it was a larger-than-life, broad comedy focused on Fonzie's superpowers. Gary Marshall understood something important. Happy Days was no longer about the 50s, it was about the Fonz. And to keep the Fonz interesting for 11 years, you have to escalate. You have to go bigger. Marshall said in a 1998 interview, "We were accused of selling out, but we were giving people what they wanted. They wanted to see Fonzie be Fonzie." TV is kind of like life. You have to evolve to survive. The shark jump was Happy Days admitting, we're a cartoon now and we're okay with that. By embracing the absurdity, they extended the life of the series by 7 years. They gave us Robin Williams. They kept millions of people entertained. The purists say the shark jump ruined the show. The data says it secured its legacy. And here's the part people miss. The shark jump didn't just extend the life of Happy Days, it became a cultural artifact in its own right. Most TV moments vanish. This one survived. It survived long enough to be debated, reinterpreted, and eventually mythologized. It became a diagnostic tool for storytelling, a metaphor, a shared language, the kind of pop culture shorthand that only exists when a moment is bold enough and weird enough to stick out in our collective memory. The shark jump didn't kill Happy Days, it made it unforgettable. Safe shows don't create myths, bold swings do. And whether you think the shark jump was brilliant or ridiculous, it was undeniably bold. It pushed the show into a new creative lane, kept it alive long enough to influence the next generation, and left behind a phrase that outlived the series itself. So the next time someone says a show jumped the shark, ask them, did the show fail? Or did it just take a big enough swing that we're still talking about it nearly 50 years later? Because if that's failure, most shows would kill for it.